Board members of Cameroon's election management body ELECAM have begun scrutinizing the files of candidates going in for the December 6 regional elections in the country. The Director General of Elections Cameroon, Nsoesie, has promised that the operation will work in line with laid down regulations of the Electoral Code. Also in this newscast, we tell you how there has been a mass influx of students from the northwest region into the economic capital Douala over the weekend. The situation is being provoked by the disturbing security situation in that part of the country triggered by the Anglophone crisis. Parents and guardians say that they are ferrying their children away from Bamenda in a bid for them to have a hitch-free academic year in the economic capital Douala. We shall be taking the pause at the motor park in Bonaberi with our reporter Ladonette Oni. Those are top stories. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. You're watching the primetime newscast on STV. Board members of the elections management body ELECAM have begun scrutinizing the files of candidates who have made their intentions known for the December 6 regional elections in the country. The Director General of Elections Cameroon, Nsoesie, says that the operation will work in line with laid down regulations of the Electoral Code. Details with Josephine Binzi.
Examining, scrutinizing and validating files of candidates has been the motivation of Elections Cameroon Board meeting on Sunday, September 27 at its headquarters in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. This is to ensure a harmonious elections come December 6, 2020, as announced by the head of state, President Paul Biya. Following the declaration of candidatures, this is the second meeting to examine all files as prescribed by the law for scrutiny following an official publication of lists of all candidates accepted. Elections Cameroon calls for a smooth scrutiny for credible results of the elections, which is a defining moment of traditional authorities and effective implementation of decentralization. The President of the Electoral Council, however, calls this process a determinant process according to Law number 175 of the law according to the Electoral Code. He equally calls on all ELECAM heads and representatives to respect all the electoral laws, being that this is the very first organization of regional elections in Cameroon. This bearing in mind the idea of peace and social cohesion and in the safeguarding of the general interest, which encompasses their daily engagement in view of successful conduct of elections come December 6. They, however, are preparing the necessary tools and also improving the tactics in the electoral process to enhance the credibility of the electoral procedure. He, however, exhorted members to do the right thing to bring about peace and social cohesion in the country. Deliberations and validations of candidatures is next on the agenda at the close of this session.
The 2021 academic year is set for October 5, 2020, and the Ministries of Basic and Secondary Education have been dishing out instructions. Top on the agenda is for schools to ensure a COVID-19 free academic year. In the economic capital Douala, some private schools have found a way to navigate through the Midtime System introduced by the Ministry of Secondary Education as a move to curb physical distancing. With the COVID-19 threat still around, they have promised to respect physical distancing in a bid to curb the coronavirus away from the school milieu. Details with John Paul Sama.
The half-time system announced by the Ministry of Secondary Education would not be implemented in some private schools in Douala because they say that their classrooms are meant to carry just 24 students.
Depuis temps-là, je vous dis non.
This measure concerns schools with huge number of students in a single classroom. But here, we don't have that problem. Since the creation of this school, we have put in place the objective of producing refined students, and so we have classrooms of just 24.
Nous avons des classes de 24 élèves. On n'en prend pas plus.
Meanwhile, some have added classrooms to ensure that they respect the designated number per class.
As of now, Central Bilingual College is a school that has got all the necessary facilities. So our own program, we've got all the classrooms. The minister likewise said that the school that have got the number of classrooms that can accommodate students, there will be no break, that shift. So our school is up to the task. We have 6 classrooms that we have added to the old ones, which is going to salvage the situation.
Even though this might not be the case in all private schools, these ones are now putting in place measures to ensure that there is the respect of social distancing in their various classrooms.
The teaching corps on their part will be expected also to contribute to a COVID-19 free academic year by taking a compulsory COVID-19 test before teaching effectively resumes on the 5th of October 2020. And this is in line with a measure from the Ministries of Basic and Secondary Education to guarantee that schools stay away from the coronavirus pandemic. Our reporter Ladonet Oni was at the Douala 4 municipality and sought to know how the operation will unfold. Her report.
In line with the ministerial order demanding the testing of all staff ahead of school resumption, schools here in the economic capital Douala are working towards this effect. At Lycée Polyvalent Bonaberi, in the Douala 4 municipality, all barrier measures will be respected, with the testing of administrative staff scheduled to take place this week.
Nous sommes en train de nous apprêter au niveau de l'établissement. Déjà, vous avez vu les points d'eau pour laver les mains. Effectivement, nous allons exiger aux enfants le port de masque.
As a school, we are getting ready for back to school. First, you can see wash hand posts all around the campus. We will oblige our students to wear face masks. We will ensure to take their temperatures. That's what we have been doing since June. For the staff, we were informed by hierarchy that the inspection team will be here anytime from now to carry out screening on all administrative staffs and teachers. We are getting ready while waiting.
D'un moment à l'autre pour tester le personnel administratif et enseignant. Donc, ce qui fait que là, nous sommes en train de nous apprêter, nous les attendons.
Infirmaries have been created in school premises to cater for COVID-19 suspected cases. These infirmaries will work in collaboration with the Bonasama Screening Center.
Là déjà au niveau du lycée polyvalent, nous disposons d'une infirmerie.
Here at Lycée Polyvalent, we have an infirmary. When we discover a child's temperature has increased, we will send him to that infirmary, and from there, he will be transferred to the health district in Bonasama. The Bonasama Screening Center will take charge in testing all teachers in this municipality.
Yeah, presently we have a team made up of 5 doctors who are all going to work throughout the period when the teachers are supposed to be tested. So there are about 3,600 teachers to be tested, and with the strategy that we have put in place, we hope that all the teachers are going to be tested before the time of school reopening.
With just 1 week to school resumption, this center, which was created at the government nursery school Bonasama, will be moving to the district hospital Bonasama, Centre Ekes Dikolo.
Going to relocate to the Bonasama district services. So we are going to quit the school today, and after quitting the school is going to thoroughly disinfected. That is, all the corners of the school, of the classes are going to be disinfected. It's true that it's a routine activity that is being carried out daily. That is when we begin working and at the end of the work. So mindful of the fact that we've been working here and equally to curb the problem of stigmatization, it's important for parents to know that the school is going to be free for their children to come and school without any risk of being infected.
Testing of students have not been programmed yet. However, health personnel have attested to being available to take care of any COVID-19 case.
There has been a mass influx of students from the northwest region into the economic capital Douala. The phenomenon, which began over the weekend, is being blamed on the security situation in that part of the country caused by the Anglophone crisis. Ladonet Oni was at Garotier in Bonaberi and sought to and took interest in the pulse of the motor park's activities. Her report.
Empty buses with no customer is what welcomed the STV team today, September 28, 2020, at the Garotier Park, Bonaberi, in the Douala 4 municipality. With today being ghost town for the restive northwest and southwest regions, only staff of the various agencies could be spotted. However, some journeys have been programmed for 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. respectively.
The situation is just as since the message passing on within the week, where we came this morning and they told us that those our men have said there is work. The only day that we are afraid now should be only Thursday because it's 1st October. So from now henceforth there is work. Roads are open and we are doing our best to see what we can do as far as the work is concerned. We are now waiting on our customers to come to the market, and on which we will arrange with them. They will go by today night at about 1 a.m. They will leave here to Kumba. Those who are traveling to Bamenda at 10 a.m., 10 p.m. they will be leaving. That's the situation for now.
The fear of violent attacks, come September 1st, 2020, has pushed a massive departure of the population of these two crisis-hit regions over the weekend.
Bamenda est vide. Samedi et dimanche matin.
Bamenda is empty. On Saturday and Sunday morning, we received an influx of inhabitants from Bamenda. The park was full. See, all the cars here are those coming from Bamenda. Today it's dry. We can't find anyone. It should be recalled that this emptiness is the reality of this park every Monday ever since the start of the crisis in 2016.
Cameroon has joined the international community to observe the World Tourism Day, which was hinged on the theme Tourism and Rural Development. In the Littoral region, the municipality of Dizange in the Sandaga Maritime Division hosted festivities. Our reporter Christelle Aswek-Swele was there and brought back this report.
The 41st commemoration of the World Tourism Day was celebrated on September 27, 2020 in the Dizange, a rural locality in the Sandaga Maritime Division.
We went to launch the activities at Dizange, which is a rural area, to show that tourism can bring development. If all the sites who are in Dizange are securized, if they develop them, they will attract the tourists, and then the tourists will come with money and will ameliorate the everyday life of the population.
Celebrated under the theme Tourism and Rural Development, the regional delegation for tourism in the Littoral region chose Dizange as host town for its rich touristic sites and historic symbols, which fall in line with the theme of this year's celebration.
To the rural area to be in adequation with the theme of this year, and to show to the rural population that developing tourism can develop their locality.
This year's World Tourism Day celebrations comes in a critical time when the world is struggling with the novel COVID-19 pandemic. The theme for the commemoration this year seeks to celebrate the unique role that tourism plays in providing opportunities outside big cities, thus preserving cultural and natural heritage all around the world. Training workshops, trade fairs, visit of touristic sites are some of the activities that grace the 41st World Tourism Day celebrations organized by the Regional Delegation of Tourism for Littoral in Dizange, a rural area in the Sandaga Maritime Division, on September 27, 2020.
Outside of the country, the first U.S. presidential debate pitting President Donald Trump against former Democratic Vice President Joe Biden takes place on Tuesday in Cleveland, Ohio. It is the first of 3 debates. The two will appear face-to-face. In Cleveland, the opinion about the two candidates differ sharply from one household to the next. More with the VOA.
This Trump flag was the first sign of politics in this Ohio neighborhood.
I debated whether to put it up or not because I was afraid my house might get shot at. And then I thought, you know what, I'm not living in fear.
But then, across the street, a Biden supporter, a friend of 44 years.
Whoever is going to be in charge just needs to lead us and be nice and smart and democratic.
Yeah, I hope the best man wins. I didn't think they were
Oh, he will.
Ohio is a crucial state. No Republican has ever won the presidency without winning Ohio. President Trump won the state by 8 points in 2016. But this year, polls show only a few points separating him from Democratic challenger Joe Biden, as neighbors and sometimes families split their allegiance.
Half of my kids are Trump supporters, so we don't invite them over anymore, no. No. They can't come over until next year, so, you know what I mean? So we say we aren't going to talk about politics, even though we do, and then we stop it.
Across the country, polarization of Trump and Biden supporters can deeply affect families. Case Western Reserve's Joe White teaches American politics and the presidency.
Republicans are more upset about the possibility of their child marrying a person of the same gender or who is transgender. Democrats are much more upset about the idea of their child marrying a Republican.
I'm going to get a wheel put riding with Biden, too. I think I'm going to decorate the whole front lawn. No,
how about hiding with Biden?
Dolores Gentili says her friendship with Patty Lucci rises above politics.
I like Trump. They like Biden. So what? One of them's going to win.
The first presidential debate Tuesday at Case Western Reserve University, not far from their houses, is expected to be contentious.
Vice President Biden will presumably be trying to walk a fine line of some sort, but he also wants to find ways to make Trump look as bad as possible, which may mean baiting him.
The debate venue in Cleveland awaits the two men to discuss their records, the Supreme Court, the coronavirus pandemic, election security, and the economy. Another topic, racial justice protests that have at times triggered rioting and looting.
That's why I'm voting for President Trump, because it seems like the Democratic Party has not condemned any of this.
I just think Trump says, I think he's mean. That's what I think upsets me. I think he says really mean things.
A new poll shows that 2 out of 3 Ohioans say that politics has strained their relationship with family and friends. They say they cope by avoiding any election talk. Instead, they'll leave the real debating up to the two candidates here at this pavilion on Tuesday. Carolyn Prasuti, VOA News, Cleveland, Ohio.
Sports football. Coton Sport of Garoua will represent Cameroon at the CAF Confederations Cup this upcoming season. The decision taken by the Cameroon Football Federation follows a complaint filed by Stade of Melon. Details with Josephine Binzi.
Coton Sport of Garoua will be in the next competition of the Confederation of African Football as decided by FECAFOOT's executive meeting on the 24th and 25th of September 2020 in Yaoundé. Some weeks ago, Alim Konate had announced that due to the team's second position in the classification, they are a possible choice if the Cup of Cameroon does not attain its objectives. This is rather not the case, as Stade Renard of Melon is also eyeing this position, being holder of the 2018-2019 seasons, as stipulated that, in case of the non-organization of the Cup of Cameroon, the last winner represents the nation at the African competition. The 14 members of the decision-making committee overwhelmingly chose Coton Sport of Garoua in the second place of the 2019-2020 championship due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Semi-finalists at the CAF competition in 2003 against Raja of Casablanca and semi-finalists in 2014 against Al Alil of Cairo, Coton Sport of Garoua now has another opportunity to grab the cup after 2 major called competitions in the Champions League eliminated by Ashanti Tokoto of Ghana. Today, 17 new players have been recruited to fine-tune the tactics of the club, which is a better way of launching the season for the pennants of the North. To attain the winning objective, the club now has 34 players, of which 13 are seniors of the club, while 2 young players are returning. The polling phase has been stipulated for the 12th of February to the 11th of April for the Champions League and the 10th of March to the 28th of April for the Confederation of African Football.
Last season's champions of PWD of Bamenda have recorded a virgin tie against RS Futuro of Equatorial Guinea in their pre-season friendly ahead of the CAF Champions League and the upcoming domestic league. John Paul Sama watched the game and now has this review in the following report.
First international friendly for the Abakwa boys, a stalemate recorded as they traveled to test the might of RS Futuro Kings in Mongomo. The boys of coach David Pago on their way to the CAF Champions League resisted the onslaught from the home team early on in the game.
The first experience playing international friendly game, it was very, very nice for our team because we respect the things that our coach told us to respect. The game was very, very difficult because between teams is a very, very nice team, but we can withstand them. It's that we need to play another matches because during the second half they changed another team. It was a new team again.
The second half saw the boys of coach Jean-François Losito dominate, but the match ended 0-0 between the two sides at the sound of the referee's final whistle.
Going by the words of the coach of Futuro Kings, Jean-François Losito, in Equatorial Guinea, they don't know anything like a friendly game, so they took the game very serious and they actually dominated the first segment of the game. And they had clear score opportunities. For example, guys like Alphonse Kevin Asiga, who was one of the top scorers in the Cameroon League, won championship last year when he was playing with Canon Sporting of Yaoundé, was a constant threat to PWD of Bamenda in the first segment before he was pulled out in the second segment. The Abakwa boys greatly improved in the second segment of the game, especially when the likes of Amzat Ibrahim Onotu came in to stabilize the defense, though he was pulled out minutes later due to an hamstring injury. But I believe that PWD of Bamenda had a good second segment with Nigerian international Emmanuel Samuel coming close to scoring a goal, though his goal rattled the woodworks and the referee said it did not cross the line. I mean, all in all, it was a balanced game between two teams that will be discovering the CAF Champions League for the very first time.
PWD of Bamenda sets to return to the country to continue preparations ahead of the continent's top flight competition and the defense of their League One title.
That does it for the primetime newscast on STV. Thank you very much for watching. More news comes up at 8 p.m. in the French language. From the entire news and technical team in Douala, have a good night. Bye-bye.